It was supposed to be just another day in Hollywood until a single car changed everything. And it all started with a smell. On the morning of September 8th, 2025, workers at a Hollywood tow yard noticed it drifting from a black Tesla with Texas plates. It had been sitting for days, pulled from the steep streets of the Hollywood Hills. But something about it felt wrong. Cars don't usually smell like this. So, what was inside? When officers opened the trunk, they found a bag. Inside, there were human remains, so decomposed that even naming the victim would take more than a week. And days later, two names would collide in the most chilling way possible. That car belonged to David Anthony Burke, better known as D4VD, a 20-year-old breakout artist with billions of streams and a world tour underway. But the girl in the trunk? She was Celeste Rivas, a 15-year-old girl who had vanished more than a year earlier. But how did her body end up in his car? Where had she been all this time? And how did a global pop phenomenon end up tied to the death of a missing child? To understand this case, we have to go back before the smell, before the Tesla, before the name D4D was known to anyone outside of Fortnite streams and TikTok. Welcome to Fractured Files, where we dive deep into the most twisted and shocking true crime cases that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about human nature. Born on March 28, 2005 in Queens, New York, David Anthony Burke moved to Houston with his family at age 13. Until then, his world was small: home, church, gospel music. His mother kept him away from pop and hip-hop, but that changed the day he heard a viral rap anthem, Lil Pump's Gucci Gang. It cracked open a door and he never closed it again. By 2021, David was spending long nights gaming, editing Fortnite montages for YouTube. But copyright strikes kept pulling his videos down. But then his mother gave him advice that would change everything. Make your own music. So, in a closet lined with clothes for soundproofing, using nothing but an iPhone and an app called BandLab, David began recording songs. In July 2022, he uploaded a track called Romantic Homicide, a song about heartbreak, but with lyrics that now feel chilling in hindsight. It went viral on TikTok, hit the Billboard charts, and racked up over 1 billion streams. And just 2 months later came Here With Me, another viral smash. And by September 2022, he signed with Interscope and Darkroom, the same label that discovered Billie Eilish. By 2025, David, now fully known as D4VD, had millions of fans, a debut album, a world tour, and the kind of fame most teenagers only dream of. But while the world celebrated his rise somewhere online, a much darker story was unfolding. Because while fans were falling in love with his songs, a young girl was falling into his orbit. Her name was Celeste Rivas, and she was only 11 years old when their paths first crossed. But how did an artist's fan become the center of one of the most disturbing celebrity-linked investigations in recent history? And it all started from a place most parents never think to check on: a Discord server. Screenshots recovered by investigators reveal that in 2022, a user named Celeste began messaging D4VD. "Celeste in here?" he asked in one of his Discord channels. "Hi, David Burke," she replied. At first, it seemed innocent, just a fan reaching out to her favorite artist. But this was the start of a connection that would later shock the internet. Over the next 2 years, their digital conversations grew. Screenshots, later submitted as evidence, show a pattern: D4VD asking questions, Celeste responding, casual exchanges, jokes, and encouragement. To anyone watching from the outside, it looked harmless, a fan interacting with a pop star online. But investigators would later note something really serious. The relationship didn't remain at the level of ordinary fandom. By early 2024, investigators noted repeated interactions between Celeste and D4VD, both online and in person. Screenshots revealed fans speculating about a romantic relationship between the rising pop star and the young girl. Many were aware of her age, yet no one seemed to care. Social media posts, live streams, and Discord messages during this period showed Celeste and David together. But then, a disturbing detail emerged. After a live stream in January 2024, D4VD asked his moderators to delete all VODs and clips featuring Celeste. But why erase evidence of an underage fan? Was it a precaution, paranoia, or something more sinister? It was in February 2024, D4VD's manager, Josh Marshall, arranged a rental for a Hollywood Hills mansion on Doheny Place. At nearly $14,000 a month, it was the centerpiece of D4VD's burgeoning career. The house would later become central to the investigation. By that time, Celeste was physically traveling to meet him, visiting the Hollywood Hills mansion. It was there, according to teachers and family statements, that Celeste first vanished on February 14, 2024, Valentine's Day. For most, a day of hearts and flowers. For Celeste Rivas, it became the day she vanished, her first disappearance. The 13-year-old was reported missing from Lake Elsinore, California. Flyers went up, neighbors noticed she was missing, and police started a search. She was eventually found and brought home, but still questions remained. According to her former science teacher at Lakeland Village School, Celeste had been influenced by her online interactions with D4VD. The teacher explained that she ran away to Hollywood after meeting him online. The police traced her and brought her back, but it was a warning about the dangers of social media. Even at 13, Celeste had the courage, or desperation, to leave home for a digital connection. Maybe it was just a teenage rebellion. But what if it's something darker? Social media posts and conversations made everything seem normal. But patterns emerged behind the scenes that troubled investigators. Why did she travel alone to meet him? Why did moderators later delete videos and live streams featuring Celeste? And why was a young fan's presence repeatedly reported, yet seemingly unmonitored by those in positions of authority? The digital trail raised more questions than answers, and as it would later become tragically clear, no one fully appreciated the danger lurking in those early messages. And by April 5, 2024, Celeste vanished again, her final disappearance. But this time she didn't return. Her mother told police her daughter had a boyfriend named David, a match for D4VD's real name, David Anthony Burke. Over the coming months, reports surfaced of a Tesla with Texas plates linked to D4VD, spotted abandoned in various Hollywood Hills locations. Friends, family, and neighbors were left asking the same chilling question. Where had Celeste gone, and who, if anyone, was watching her? For law enforcement, the pattern was worrying. A teenager repeatedly going missing, connected to a young celebrity with considerable access and influence. By May 2024, her absence was no longer a local curiosity. It was becoming a mystery with unanswered questions. Could anyone have predicted what would happen next? Yes. Spring turned to summer, and still, Celeste Rivas remained missing. Also, neighbors in Hollywood Hills began noticing something strange again. A Tesla with Texas plates, seemingly abandoned, parked in different locations near the hills. At first, it was easy to ignore. A car left for a day or two could mean anything. But this Tesla lingered, moving from street to street, always within view of local residences, like a silent observer. Inside, no one knew what or who might have waited, yet its connection to David was undeniable. During this period, D4D's social media remained active. He continued posting from the Hollywood Hills mansion his manager had leased, living what appeared to be a normal life, performing, touring, and engaging with fans. Instagram snapshots of plush interiors and sunlit balconies hid the Storm building just a few streets away. Meanwhile, online communities were abuzz. Discord messages, fan speculations, and screenshots revealed Celeste and David interacting, sometimes casual, sometimes strangely intimate for a girl only 13. One user even commented on the age difference, while another speculated on their relationship. By May 2024, disturbing reports surfaced. Neighbors had been seeing the Tesla parked around the Hollywood Hills continuously since at least May. Someone even contacted Celeste's mother, telling her, "Stop looking for her, she's fine," demanding that social media posts about her disappearance be removed. But who was behind these messages? A fan, a friend, or someone with a more ominous purpose? Throughout these months, Celeste's absence grew heavier, more conspicuous. Friends, family, and even law enforcement were left grappling with the unknown. Where had Celeste gone? Had she run away by choice, or had something irreversible happened? Was she still alive, or trapped in a secret that only the Tesla knew? The longer the car remained, the deeper the unease. And by late summer, the air of tension became suffocating. And now it's September 8th, 2025. Hollywood's early morning calm was shattered by an unexpected, foul intrusion into the ordinary. A stench so potent it made workers at the Hollywood tow yard pause, step back, and wonder what had been hidden here for so long. The source was a Tesla, that same sleek, black Tesla. The same car that had silently lingered in the hills for over a year. The same car neighbors and social media users had whispered nervously. So tow yard employees, drawn closer by the odor, opened the front trunk and discovered something horrifying. Inside lay a bag containing severely decomposed human remains, twisted and unrecognizable. Even flies buzzed around as if drawn to the secret that had been kept too long. And on September 9th, 2025, the news had broken. A body, decades too young, was found in the front trunk of a Tesla registered to one of Gen Z's biggest rising stars. Yet D4VD carried on as if nothing had happened. In Minneapolis, the crowd roared. Labubu toys were tossed into the audience. Cameras flashed, phones recorded, and fans cheered for the pop sensation. But behind the facade of performance, an invisible storm was gathering. Did he know what had been discovered hours away in Los Angeles? How did the discovery of a deceased teenager go unnoticed while he performed for thousands? And on September 17th, 2025, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner formally confirmed that the remains were Celeste Rivas, using dental records. She was just 5 feet 2 inches, weighing barely 71 pounds. Her wavy black hair, once described by classmates as her signature look, was still intact. She had been found wearing a simple tube top and black leggings, an outfit that painted an image of a teenager caught between childhood and adulthood. And there was something that was far more shocking. Investigators noted the tattoo, etched on her right index finger, a detail that unnervingly mirrored D4VD's own tattoo. And the timing made it all the more devastating. The identification came just one day after what should have been Celeste's 15th birthday. Instead of a celebration, balloons, and candles, her family was handed the unbearable confirmation that their daughter was gone forever. But how did a teenager slip so deeply into the orbit of a rising celebrity? And why was the tattoo so eerily connected to him? By the fall of 2025, investigators closed in on a location that had loomed over the case from the very beginning, the Hollywood Hills mansion on Doheny Place. It was the hub of D4VD's rapid rise in Los Angeles, a place of parties, live streams, and constant online chatter. But on this day, it became a crime scene. The LAPD's Robbery Homicide Division arrived with a search warrant in hand. Inside, they seized various items: electronics, hard drives, computers, anything that might hold digital traces of communication, deleted files, or hidden connections between Celeste and the pop star. But their search wasn't limited to devices. The warrant made their intent clear. They were also looking for traces of blood and other evidence. The mansion's location made it even more significant. Just 2 blocks away sat the abandoned Tesla with Texas plates, the same vehicle repeatedly linked to D4VD and spotted during the months Celeste was missing. By September 19th, the fallout from the case had moved beyond the investigation and straight into D4VD's career. That morning, his team issued a statement confirming the cancellation of all remaining tour dates, including the highly anticipated European leg. For fans, the sudden halt wasn't just disappointing, it signaled the seriousness of what was happening behind the scenes. Soon after, observers noticed quiet changes on his official website. A controversial line of merchandise, a $35 shirt designed with fake bloodstains, was removed without explanation. Once marketed as an edgy tie-in to his darker music themes, the design now looked disturbingly connected to the ongoing investigation. Sony Music also followed quickly. The label suspended the deluxe edition of his debut album, Withered, along with every piece of planned promotional activity. Ads disappeared, press pushes stalled, and the album rollout that had been carefully built over months was suddenly put on hold. Then came the corporate withdrawals. Brands that had once celebrated D4VD's youth and creativity, including Crocs and Hollister, erased campaign content featuring him from their platforms. Images, videos, and social posts disappeared almost overnight. What had been a steady rise in fame just months earlier now collapsed in real time. For D4D, the stage, the merchandise, and even the partnerships that fueled his public image were gone in a matter of days. As the case entered the weekend of September 20th to 21st, investigators were still piecing together critical details. One of the most pressing questions, when exactly Celeste Rivas died, remained unanswered. The medical examiner had not been able to determine how long her remains had been in the Tesla. Reports from neighbors suggested the Tesla had been sitting in the Hollywood Hills since May 2024, raising the possibility that Celeste's body may have been inside for months. What happened to Celeste between her disappearance in April 2024 and the discovery of her remains in September 2025 is still completely unknown. Those missing months remain one of the most critical gaps in the investigation. Despite growing public pressure, no arrests were made. Legal analysts noted that while the circumstances appeared suspicious, prosecutors would need stronger physical evidence before moving forward with charges. At this stage, investigators had neither confirmed cause of death nor clear proof directly linking anyone to a crime. Meanwhile, representatives for D4D issued a short statement emphasizing that he was fully cooperating with authorities. They confirmed that he had turned over devices and complied with search requests, but offered no additional comment on the details of the investigation. The uncertainty left the public and media asking the same questions. How did a 14-year-old end up dead in a pop star's car, and why was the timeline still so unclear? Also, new claims began surfacing online and in interviews connected to the case. Someone identifying himself as Celeste Rivas' brother publicly alleged that D4VD had direct involvement in her death, stating that he had previously warned law enforcement about the situation. Authorities have not confirmed whether they received such warnings. At the same time, rumors spread across social media suggesting Celeste may have been pregnant. Screenshots circulated, reportedly from Discord messages, showing D4VD referencing a kid on the way. These claims remain unverified, and investigators have not released any medical findings to confirm or deny them. Attention also turned to D4VD's inner circle. His manager, Josh Marshall, came under scrutiny after critics suggested he may have known about the ongoing relationship between the artist and Celeste, but failed to intervene. Now the investigation remains open, with the LAPD Robbery Homicide Division focused on uncovering the exact circumstances of Celeste Rivas' death. Yet, without a clear cause of death, the case has not been classified as a homicide. That legal gray area leaves David suspended in limbo, never arrested, never charged, but his once promising career in ruins. What began as an abandoned Tesla in the Hollywood Hills has spiraled into one of the most unsettling celebrity-linked cases in recent memory. At its core lies a tragedy that goes beyond a single artist or fan. It exposes the hidden dangers at the intersection of social media, fandom, and the vulnerability of minors. Celeste's story forces difficult questions onto the public stage. How easily can online connections turn into real-world risks? What responsibility do celebrities and the industries that support them have when young fans blur the line between admiration and intimacy? And how many warnings must be missed before intervention comes too late? For now, the answers remain as elusive as the missing months in Celeste's final year. The investigation continues. But one truth is already undeniable. What should have been the rise of a new voice in music is now remembered as a cautionary tale of trust, access, and a life cut tragically short. If you found this story as shocking as I did and want an update, make sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss our deep dives into the most mind-blowing cases here on Fractured Files.